Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the reopening of the historic Guggenheim building. Now, my passion and my mission for the past 4 years has been to reinvent Galcit and to infuse it with new ideas compatible with the demands of the modern world. 4 years down the line, Galcit has indeed undergone a massive structural transformation in its educational, in its research, and in its hiring priorities. Along with that mission, the historic Guggenheim building was to be renovated and serve as a powerful visual symbol of Galcit's rejuvenation. I was very fortunate to work with very talented architects, Alice Kim and John Friedman, who resonated with my passion for change and were able to translate this passion effectively to an aesthetic message. Now, the building that you are about to enter is an expression of the ways in which Galcit transforms itself in order to respond to the challenges of a changing world. Guggenheim is a public symbol, and as such, it has a public message to transmit. This message goes beyond subjective aesthetics. From now on, Guggenheim stands in the middle of campus to symbolically remind everyone that Galcit is very much alive, that Galcit has successfully transformed itself, and that Galcit is ready to lead again wearing its modern colors. So it is with great pride and it's with great relief that I would like to report to you that we have completed the second phase of the renovation of the historic Guggenheim building exactly 80 years after its construction. There are some very important people that I would like to thank at this point. I want to acknowledge the early efforts of the fourth director of Galcit, Professor Hans Hornung, who began the renovation and completed phase one of this work about 14 years ago. Now, phase one removed the 10-foot wind tunnel and replaced it with a state-of-the-art facility founded by the Lucas family. It also created the Lis Kubota Auditorium and many research labs. Phase two has resulted in new teaching and research infrastructure, reflecting our dual emphasis on both space and bio-inspired design. During this process, I was extremely fortunate to work with John Friedman and Alice Kim, who led the team which worked tirelessly with Mitch Hudson and Kevin Cooper of the Delamo Construction Company. Mitch and Kevin, are you here? Could you raise your hands? Thank you. Every Wednesday, for about 2 years, we met at the Northrop Reading Room and over donuts. And I will always remember these Wednesday mornings, and I will miss them, despite the fact that I have gained a lot of weight because of these donuts. I also want to thank Caltech's Architectural Engineering Services team, Bill Nunez, Brad Smith, and Mark Trojanowski for the great support throughout this process. Well, special thanks goes to my colleagues, the members of the Galcit Building Committee, Professor Mori Garib, Professor G. Ravichandran, who is also the Associate Director of Galcit, and Beverly McCune for holding my hand throughout this process. Could you raise your hands, please? And a very, very special thanks to Galcit's administrator, Dimitri Nelson. Where are you, Dimitri? For holding down the fort with a great sense of humor, especially when we were faced with flooding of liquid concrete, or sometimes with dust storms. Let me remind you, actually, that we never stopped occupying this building during the construction, something that will probably change if I were to do this again. Now it's my great pleasure and honor to invite Professor Jean-Loup Chamon, the president of Caltech and a great supporter of Galcit, to introduce our donors and to officially reopen the historic Guggenheim building. Jean-Loup.
Don't you like the passion of Ares Rosakis? His drive and energy. He's calling my office very often to ask for my help, my time, and sometimes money. And my assistant, from time to time, she comes to me, "Do you really want to spend that much time with Ares?" I said, "Yeah." She said, I can never say no to him. Yeah. So you have a way. You did a great job, Ares, and it's a very pleasure to have you as a colleague. Good morning, and welcome to the rededication of the Guggenheim building. As Ares mentioned to you, it is the 80th anniversary of the founding of Galcit. As you know very well, the founder and leader was a visionary engineer, scientist, Theodore von Karman, that Caltech had been very fortunate to attract here to Pasadena when he left Germany. And Galcit's creation was made possible by a generous gift at the time of $300,000 from the Daniel Guggenheim Fund for the promotion of aeronautics. At the time, $300,000 was some money, and it led to a great facility. And it turned out to be a great investment. It launched, I believe, one of the most impressive aeronautics enterprises in the world. Galcit was established at a time of need in the country, and it became widely known in part because of its importance to the war effort. All airplanes built in the US between 1935 and 1945 were tested in a 10-foot wind tunnel. Galcit, I believe, also gets a major part of the credit for establishing the aerospace industry in Southern California, including the founding of the Aerojet and Aerospace corporations. The initial experiments on rockets conducted by Galcit students and associates led to the creation of JPL, which is clearly the best laboratory in the world when it comes to robotic space exploration. So for 80 years, the Galcit faculty and students have played an enormous role in developing many disciplines which are critical to aeronautics and space exploration, including fluid mechanics, solid mechanics, propulsion, structures, and others. Galcit alumni provide the intellectual leadership of the most influential academic departments in those disciplines across the country. As I was saying to a few of you last night at the reception, it is quite amazing how such a small group of people, relatively few alumni every year, have such a profound influence. They have also become government and industry leaders, as well as astronauts, NASA administrators, and space pioneers. Yesterday's conference offered direct proof of Galcit influence in academic and business circles. Everyone would agree that Galcit has had a glorious past. But today, on the occasion of its 80th birthday, I also foresee a glorious future. We face new challenges in space exploration, and Galcit, in partnership with JPL, has embarked on a mission to address those. For instance, we have developed new academic programs, a master's degree in aerospace engineering, and new international partnerships, including a joint master's degree with the École Polytechnique in France. The splendid future will also come from exciting initiatives in areas such as large space deployable structures, and a bio-inspired design. It will also result, I believe, from the continued commitment to fundamental work and experimentation. I think the influence of Galcit will keep growing for another 80 years. The renovation of the Guggenheim building is a tangible example of Caltech's continued commitment to aeronautics and aerospace. This renovation could not have happened without the generous support of private donors. Their contributions were made in the same spirit as the Guggenheim gift 80 years ago. I would like to acknowledge and thank 4 Caltech alumni and their families for their efforts in bringing this project to completion. Alan and Marilyn Puckett, who are longtime friends of Galcit and Caltech, have helped establish the Alan and Marilyn Puckett Laboratory of Computational Fluid Mechanics. With this new lab, our faculty and students will pursue research and discovery in this basic discipline that still lies at the heart of modern aerospace research. We also gratefully recognize Joseph and Edwina Cherik for their gift establishing the new Joe and Edwina Cherik Laboratory of Bio-Inspired Design. This laboratory will foster emerging connections between mechanics, biology, chemistry, and medical devices, as well as applications in aeronautics and space exploration. Another friend and Galcit alumnus, Robert Herzog, has founded the Von Karman Conference Room and Galcit Archives. This will afford students and faculty a state-of-the-art space for meetings and thesis presentations, along with a museum-quality facility to house Von Karman's papers and other Galcit artifacts. The gift from the Gordon Kahn Estate has made possible a new teaching facility, the Gordon Kahn Laboratory for Experimental Innovation. Education has always been at the center of Galcit's mission, and we are delighted that our students will now have access to this spectacular facility. A number of gifts to the renovation have also helped establish the Laboratory of Large Space Structures. It is taking both physically and symbolically the place of Von Karman's historic 10-foot wind tunnel. This is the beginning of a new activity in space research and study for Galcit. With these gifts, alumni and private donors have indicated their confidence and faith in the future of Galcit. These renovated labs and new infrastructure will allow Caltech to maintain its leadership in aerospace engineering and support Galcit's expansion in new research areas. But more importantly, they will support the education of our students as they deal with new and challenging problems. In addition to helping maintain American leadership in space exploration and aeronautics, Galcit graduates will address critical issues in Earth observation related to climate, energy, and security. The accomplishments of the past 80 years have been superb, but with the timely renovation, I have no doubt that the future will be glorious and that Galcit will remain preeminent in the aeronautics and aerospace world. Thank you for joining us this morning, and it's great to have you here to celebrate a fantastic event for Caltech. State-of-the-art tools. Now is the time. I would like to invite our donors and friends here to join Ares and me to do the official ribbon cutting before it works.
come around the other side. Don't cut yet. Come around this side so we can get your smiling faces. Dr. Masakis, if you wouldn't mind standing in the picture as well.
And we'll let you all look up here.
One, two, three. Okay. Yes. At this point, we're going to start. We're going to start with the first tour. I would like to invite our donors and special guests to join me. There would be another tour following this one at 11 o'clock, which I will lead here. You are all welcome. Thank you. Dimitri Nelson has a few announcements to make as we're starting.
Thank you all for coming. The refreshments are here on the side, and you'll be able to pick up the maps for the open house. The labs are open all over the building, and the students are eager to show you what they're working on. On the second floor, there's a poster session and delightful images of the research that's ongoing. And so you're welcome to do the self-guided tour. There's maps so you don't get lost. And then at 11 is another tour that you could participate in of the renovated area. Thank you all for coming.
Could I just make one comment?
Oh, yes?
I must say I'm a little disappointed in these scissors because I thought at least there'd be a laser beam or something to cut the ribbon. But it adds up to my experience in the last day or so here. You got a wonderful flood of memories that go back to many, many years, and yet you get the whole spirit of advance every place you go. So it's a wonderful feeling. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.